Why you don't hear much from Zion Williamson anymore? Zion Williamson is one of the best young players in today's NBA. He's arguably the most highly touted prospect to enter the league since LeBron James, and has even earned early comparisons to King James himself. If it was not due for an injury during Summer League that kept Williamson sidelined for most of the 2019-2020 season, it's likely that he would be a frontrunner to win Rookie of the Year this season. Even with Zion missing a substantial amount of the year, he's still in contention for the award despite Morant playing the full year and putting up remarkable numbers, especially for a rookie. This fact alone shows just how impactful and the great potential that Zion has. Many believe that he'll become the face of the league during the 2020s. However, lately, despite him being one of the biggest young stars of the game, we have not heard much from Williamson. What's going on? Outside of him appearing in a Jordan brand that almost everyone has seen, and you might not even notice him at the beginning or sometime during an ad break during this video, we've not heard much from the face and future of the New Orleans Pelicans. Today we'll be breaking down some of the reasons as to why you don't hear much from Zion Williamson anymore. The NBA has been shut down since March. The first reason as to why we've not heard much from Zion Williamson is the fact that the NBA has been shut down since March. As a result of this, we've not seen him in post-game interviews or doing his thing on the court. During the season, Zion Mania was everywhere. You could not go to ESPN or in general have any basketball conversations without bringing him up or his name coming up with the conversation. He finished 15th in jersey sales in the 2019-2020 season before he even played an NBA regular season game. However, with the NBA being suspended and the Pelicans being a bubble team, the headlines have begun to sway towards who will be winning the MVP award and, more importantly, who will be winning the NBA Finals. With Zion's Pelicans being such a young and inexperienced team in terms of playoff basketball, they'll more than likely be receiving less and fewer media and paying attention as the resumed season continues. Along with this, Zion being such a young player and not really having the time to establish himself in the league as of now, he's not been a part of player-led conversations on what to do in terms of handling the resumption of the season. Players who hold places of power with the NBA Players Association, like Chris Paul, have been some of the most talked about players in the league as a result of which way they're swaying on continuing the season. Because of Zion only being a rookie and not even having a full season under his belt, he's not been invited to be part of these calls and conversations as a result. So we've not heard his opinion on what should be done this season. And furthermore, tying into Kyle Irving's argument, the season could even resume as a result of the protests for change that are going on, and if the NBA should and would be distracting from the message that is trying to be shared. Injuries. Another reason as to why Zion has not yet become quite the media sensation that he was in college and going into the draft is simply because of his injury history in the NBA. In a summer league game, Zion suffered an injury that kept him out most of the regular season, as a result of him sitting the bench and being unable to play rather than him taking the court and possibly carrying the Pelicans to a playoff lock. More talk about Williamson was about his body, and if he was built to be an NBA star and be durable to last a substantial amount of time in the league. Opposed to his college career, in which he hardly missed a game. In college, Zion was everywhere and clearly the best player in college basketball on arguably the most talented college basketball team ever assembled, despite them failing to win a national championship. During this single season in college, Zion was one of the, if not the, closest covered athlete on TV by stations like ESPN, on YouTube, and basketball blogs and comment sections alike. When looking at the overall stats from his rookie season, Zion has all-star caliber stats, despite him only playing in 19 games. There likely being a slight slump in these numbers if he were played the entire season. He scored 23.6 points on average, 6.8 rebounds on 58.9% shooting from the field. If he were to have not suffered the injury so early in the preseason or have been able to make a return to action and play in even half of the season and maintain these averages as a rookie, he would be easily one of the biggest names in the game today and one of the most closely followed athletes, even with the NBA being on hold. Lastly, Zion has likely been taking his extended break from the game in the gym, trying to do what he can to work on his game, better the areas that he truly struggles in, and work on bettering his durability so we can see him play an entire season injury-free. Family and personal issues. The next reason as to why we possibly have not heard much from Zion lately is that he's been going through some various serious personal family issues. While it's not been reported as to what these issues are, they were serious enough for Williamson to leave the NBA quarantine bubble shortly after arriving for serious family issues. Knowing that him leaving had to be approved by his team, the league, and would force him to go into at least a 10-day self-quarantine after return to the bubble, it's clear that something serious is going on with Zion. It's likely that this could be a major reason as to why we've not heard from him lately. The Pelicans announced that they hoped he would return eventually for the season. However, with it being on the table that he might not return for the season, it's obvious that something very serious is going on. Zion is not in a good place right now. Pelicans Vice President of Basketball Operations David Griffin was quoted as saying, "We fully support Zion's decision to leave the NBA campus to be with his family. Out of respect for Williamson family, we will have no further comment at this time. Hopefully, the issue will be resolved. Everyone will be okay, and Zion will be able to take the floor when the season resumes." Lacks a jump shot. The next reason as to why we've not heard much from Zion lately is that he lacks a jump shot. During quarantine, ESPN televised a tournament of horse between NBA players, former NBA players, and WNBA players. This would have been a great opportunity for Zion to further better his brand, as well as keep his name in the headlines during the NBA suspension. However, it's likely that Zion did not even receive an invitation from ESPN to be part of the event. Zion is a player that specializes in playing around the basket and shooting around the basket. He averages less than one attempted three a game, which can explain away his amazing 46.2% shooting from three. Along with this, Zion greatly struggles from the free throw line. He currently is sitting at 64.5% from free throw, which is one of the most major flaws of his game. As a result of the lack of shooting Zion currently suffers from, he missed out on what could have been a great event branding-wise, and it would have given fans the chance to see one of the game's brightest stars on a basketball court again and hear from him this season. Quiet on social media. Another reason as to why we've not heard from Zion Williamson in so long is the fact that he does not post much on social media. Most players take advantage of social media to gain more of a following and even for endorsement opportunities. Despite Zion being one of the most silent stars on social media, he's had no trouble with endorsements. However, fans have not gotten the chance to get a peek inside the day-to-day life of the young star, as they have with players like LeBron James. Especially during quarantine, many players have spent more time than ever posting on social media or going on to sites like Instagram to interact and chat with fans, which is something that many do not do and is generally frowned upon during the regular season and playoffs. While it's not a negative thing, or should be forced upon players to be active and constantly on social media, this is an explanation as to why we've not heard much from Zion as of late. Has a more reserved personality. As another reason as to why you're not hearing much from Zion anymore is that he has a very reserved personality. He seems to be someone who's not in it for the limelight, spotlight, and attention that a life of basketball can easily give someone. However, he seems to be someone in it for the love of the game and uses his talents to help his family and people that he cares about. A prime example of this reserved personality is rather than wanting to make a splash into the NBA after his phenomenal freshman season at Duke University, Williamson wanted to stay at Duke rather than go to the NBA. He said that he loved it there and wanted to stay with the friends that he had made and win a national championship that they were almost consensus favorites to win. It was only after Coach K told him that he'd go to the NBA and put his name in the draft that Williamson made the choice. Another example comes from an account by JJ Redick. Redick has been on many teams throughout his long and prosperous NBA career. However, this is his first year with the New Orleans Pelicans. He said that this team is by far the quietest he's ever been on, and there are not really any vocal leaders on the team. With Zion being the clear best player on the Pelicans, it's assumed that he would take on the role of being the court coach and vocal leader of the team. However, he prefers to lead by example and hope that his teammates follow in his footsteps and mimic his work ethic. This reserved personality shows both on and off the court and continues as to why you have not heard much from Zion lately. Bigger stories have dominated headlines. The final reason as to why Zion has not been heard much from lately is that there's such bigger news and topics dominating headlines lately. Currently, in the wake of the protests going on across the country, athletes and leagues as a whole have been taking a stand and contributing to the movement that is going on as a whole. As a result of the NBA moving on as a collective rather than individually, it's that focus on the entirety of the league and not just one particular player. Along with this, COVID-19 has effectively shut down the entire country and NBA as well. As a result of this, there has been more of a focus on what the league will do to resume and what sports and the country as a whole will look like. With Zion not making any major statements on either of these topics, combined with his previous covered reserved personality, he's not made many headlines and been covered in a political manner. and has effectively taken a back seat to other athletes, musicians, and political leaders in recent months. Final thoughts. In conclusion, despite being one of the most promising and having one of the highest ceilings in the entire NBA, Zion Williamson has not been heard from much lately. This is due to many reasons, like the NBA being shut down and him not being on the floor, him focusing on preventing injuries and working to rehabilitate, him going through a current serious medical family emergency, lacking a jumper, not being active on social media, having a reserved, quiet personality, and other stories and news dominating the headlines over Zion. He's not been heard from much at all since the league's been shut down. It is likely once basketball starts back up, he'll soon once again become one of the most talked about players in the league and one of ESPN's favorite talking pieces. But for now, there's much more important things going on to Zion than posting a tweet or going live on Instagram. Thanks for watching another UpNext Sports video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more basketball content similar to this. Also, leave a like and comment if you want.